this is why, another reason why I started the podcast was I lived in a cabin 2 different times for 5 days. I brought 5 pounds of turkey, 5 pounds of rice, and that was all I ate. I meditated an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening. I brought probably 5 books that I wanted to read. And I just learned about my life and learned about who was I really. I brought old journal entries and I just saw what came up.
When did you do this?
I did it once in August 2020 and once in August 2023.
What did you learn?
So you know that feeling you get when you're so clear on what you need to do, where it's just like, oh, it's so obvious. I'm going to start this podcast. I'm going to interview these guests. I'm going to do that. Whereas like a lot of times we're just operating this like, should I do this? Should I not? What I felt from going there to this cabin was complete clarity, complete knowing of my path, complete surrender to this is so clear. I mean, when I came back from the first time, I had 100 names of guests, of people I wanted to have on the podcast, people to reach out to. This is how I'm going to get this person. This is how I'm going to talk to this person. It was just like, oh, I see the plan.
Yeah.
So the surety of the vision from September 2020 and recording 20 episodes in 30 days is because in August, right before all that started, I planned it out and I had a clear knowing of that this was the right and appropriate direction for me to go in.
Was that when you were doing 75 hard, like around that same time?
Yeah, I was doing 75 hard in September of 2019 for the first time.
Okay.
And then I did it throughout 2020 as well.
Okay.
To keep me sharp and keep me going.
Yeah. Did you do because after you do 75 hard, is it phase 1? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Did you do all those iterations too?
Yes, I did. And it's great. Like part of it is like talking to a random stranger. Some part of it's like taking a cold shower every day.
Yeah.
Just like you do these small things, it really adds up to change your vibration, change who you are as a human being. I always felt so good talking to random strangers because maybe it was like an area where I felt uncomfortable or not free. And just the fact that I could talk to somebody random and I could light up a smile on their face and I could just connect with them in a deep way. To me, that's the magic of life.
Yeah. Remembering
who we are, connecting with somebody who is ourselves.
What causes somebody to go live in the woods for 5 days? Like, what was the moment where you're like, you know what? I'm going to look up a cabin and I'm going to find one that's vacant for 5 days and I'm going to get a bag of rice and turkey. Like, what causes somebody to do that?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think about it on a weekly basis, but I've never actually done it.
I think that's why it resonates with people because most people have thought about it, but just haven't done it. Like most people have thought about running the crazy feats that you've done, but never actually do it. And so you give them the possibility of like, yeah, like this could be your life.
Yeah.
I think I was meditating 60 minutes a day from May of 2020 to I ended up doing it till December. And I was like, I know I can go deeper on myself. I know I can do more. It's similar to like someone running a marathon being like, I know I can do more.
Yeah.
Like imagine just sitting with yourself for 60 minutes a day and it not being an issue at all. Like that face.
Yeah.
I hope that goes to your face. Dude, imagine that.
Yeah.
And like imagine being so comfortable with that where you're like, what's next? Give me something else.
Yeah.
And she's like, all right, I'll do 60 minutes in the morning and evening. And then it's like, okay, what's next?
Do you think everybody has that mindset
Yes.
though?
I think,
You
well,
think so?
no, I think everyone has that in them if they want it. Similar to everyone can run a marathon if they want it.
Right.
I don't think everyone has that mindset. And I think that's why people follow people like me and you. Because like, I don't have that mindset. I like some bit of that mindset.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Damn. That's good. This is good stuff. So are you podcasting full time?
Yeah.
This is like sole source of income essentially?
Yeah. Well, it's coaching now.
Right.
It was consulting before where I was helping other podcasters grow their podcast, but now it's completely coaching and retreats.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And podcasting is so interesting because I've heard you talk about it before. I've seen the statistics of like, it's what, 90% quit before episode 10 or something?
Yeah.
And then it's like 90% of those that make it past, they quit before episode 20?
Yes.
You probably know the statistic better than I do, but
Yeah.
so it's like, essentially, if you make it past episode 20, you're in the top 1%.
Yes.
Is that still the case? Do you know? Like, I feel like everybody I know has a podcast.
Oh, well, everyone has a podcast that has started.
That's true.
Is everyone publishing a podcast?
That's true.
I don't know. I think that's just numbers on human nature.
Yeah.
It's like same thing. I'm sure it's the same thing with running.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like everyone's running. Well, yeah, because everyone you surround yourself with is running.
Right.
It's like that type of person. But a lot of people have started running and they've done it for 7 times and they've never ran again.
Yeah, it's true.
Other people, they've gotten to 20 runs. And that's how I would track it when I started running, actually. I remember running with Matt Choi and being like, I'm on run 50 right now.
Really?
And we did an interview where I was on run 50. And I was like, wow, like this was in August of 2023.
And you just did a marathon, was it November?
I did a marathon St. Jude's December 2nd.
December, okay.
Yeah. And then I ran with Matt Choi and we did a marathon around the lake, unofficial, unsanctioned, December 31st. And then I'm running my 3rd marathon, I guess, on February 18th.
In 2 days.
In 2 days with you, potentially.
Dude, I think we should.
Yeah, I think that's what the moment calls for.
Yes. Oh, dude. What got you into running initially? So with Matt?
No, so Matt played some part in it, but really it was my grandpa and my dad. And my grandpa started running when he was 40 and it became a huge part of his life. He hosted a run club in the 70s or 80s and
Really?
just an amazing guy.
Before run clubs were cool.
Way before run clubs were cool. He would just show up to this park and he would do it 5 days a week.
That's so cool.
And it would just be, people would come in and so cool to just know that that's a part of my bloodline in some sense. But the reason why I started taking it seriously was because my friend Brett Ender from Meat Mafia.
Oh, yeah.
Great guy. And he calls me and he's like, hey, dude, you want to run the St. Jude's Marathon in Memphis in 6 months? It's like, yeah. But also like the fact that he would call me about that marathon specifically when my dad ran one marathon in his life and it was that one 10 years prior.
Really?
I said, I understand, God. I see what I'm being called to do in this moment and I surrender. And so I started running.
What
Seriously.
are the chances of that? That's wild.
That's God.
Yeah.
To me, that's what I call, I can't choose that circumstance.
Yeah.
10 years from the time where my dad signed up to the time where I run this marathon. Come on.
That's crazy.
Come on.
How did it go?
It was a transcendent experience.
The training or the race?
Both. And that's why I knew I loved it.
Yeah.
Because I loved the person I was becoming by virtue of the running and the training of it. And then I loved racing. And I loved bringing people together that I loved. Like I did it with my friend Zach Pograb. And I told you, we were in the hotel room listening to Jeremy Miller. What does Jeremy Miller say about the LMNT? How much electrolytes? How much salt? What do you eat before? And Zach is probably like a 210-pound guy. And here how much do you weigh?
I'm like 170.
170. And it's like, he's like, he's like, I need to add like a little extra for the unaccounted for.
Oh my God. That's so funny.
It was so great. But I love bringing people together for the marathon.
Yeah.
And my parents were there. His parents were there. And my friend Noah Heisman and Brett and Harry, they were all there. And it was so special just to have so many people I loved in one place in one time. And I was like, I love this so much. And within 3 hours, I was like, I'm signing up for another one. And actually, I got to put on record a remarkable story that happened at that race, since it all ties together. So mile 21, my grandpa told me before the race, he's like, dude, for you, mile 21 to 23 is going to be the most difficult part of the marathon. My grandpa's name is Richard, and he is just such a brilliant guy that I was like, okay, whatever you say, Grandpa, mile 21 will be the hardest. No one's talking to me during this Memphis marathon where I don't know anyone really that's running in the race except Zach, who's way faster than me. And mile 21 comes about, and this guy, it's like, hey, dude, do you need anything? Do you need any electrolytes? Do you need any water? He's running with a pack and he's running in the race. And I was like, nah, dude, I'm good. We start running together for the next 2 miles from 21 to 23. And the whole time, I'm like, oh my God, like this is the time where my grandpa said was going to be the most difficult for me. And here this guy just starts running with me randomly. Before he goes, I say, yo, dude, what's your name? So I could get in contact with him after. And he goes, my name is Richard.
No way. What the hell? That's a real story?
That is a real story.
That's pretty nuts.
When I talk about my life as a movie, that's what I mean.
That's crazy. It's not crazy.
Is that crazy or is that God?
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really makes you think.
Yeah, it does.
It really makes you think.
Damn. That is wild. That's
Richard
so cool,
Mayberry, real person, real guy from Alabama.
That's so
real
cool.
legend, you know?
Damn.
And my grandpa, really named Richard.
What do you think there's like why do you think all these things are happening? Does it seem like more as of lately?
Yeah.
Why do you think so?
I think because I've become more free.
And more aware of them potentially?
Yeah, more aware of them. I think it's always happening to some extent. It's just about our ability to recognize them.
Yeah.
And I call them synchronicities. And
yeah,
the only way I could describe it is like, there's got to be something greater that is running the show to make that happen. I mean, the guy could have started running with me at mile 15.
Yeah.
I said it. This is also true. I was going to take my shirt off at mile 13, but I said, no, there's something about finishing and starting the race with the same shirt and what you become in that process. So I'm not going to take it off. And the reason why he approached me was because he was like, I like your shirt.
Dude, you couldn't write it any better.
When you experience this on a day-to-day basis, the only thing I'm left to say is God is running the show.
Yeah.
Truly. And this is coming from somebody who didn't believe in God at all for years of my life, for 27 years. But if you just experience that and you continually deepen and deepen that experience of things that are so bizarre that you have to say it's God.
Was your family religious? Like, you
not
grew
at
up
all.
Going to church or anything?
Not at all.
Dang. This is just pure firsthand experience.
Yes.
That's cool. That's the most pure way.
Yes.
Because it's so different if you grew up going to Sunday school your whole life. That's like a distorted perception potentially, because it's like you have that influence. But when you experience that outside of parental influence or family influences, and it's like you get it explored on your own, it's so much more powerful, I think.
Yeah, it really feels that way.
Yeah.
It feels deeper. Like my parents don't even understand it. They're like, what? God? Like, what are you talking about?
Wow.
And so
That's so cool.
yeah, it's just, I wouldn't say this if it didn't impact my life at a deep level.
Yeah.
And you listen to the blessing over and over and over again, watch your life transform. Like, I genuinely believe nobody can listen to the blessing every day, 3 times a day, and not have their life be miraculously different. I genuinely believe that.
Damn, I gotta hear this song, dude.